Hey, what's up, La Familia? You crazy football-loving nutters. This is Ray Hudson, and you are luxuriating in listening to the Inter Miami podcast with the stupefyingly magnificent Jay and Alex. Two lads who are as electrifying as a hairdryer thrown into a hot tub. Stay tuned, because you know what it's going to be. It's going to be magisterial with an amplifier.
To the left, Pellegrini, inside, Pizarro Golazo, here's the goal scorer, Morgan, and he's done it again, Lewis Morgan with a second of the match. Higuain will have the goal, and he's framed the top 90, it's a sensational first goal for Gonzalo Higuain.
Oh yeah, man, another week, another meltdown. What else is new in your guys' world? Because we're in the same place, not going anywhere. Just we're like a one-footed duck, just swimming in circles as everyone's floating on down the river, having a good old time. But how are you boys doing?
I'm getting my trophy case ready for this beautiful wooden spoon we're heading towards right now. This is a little painful to think that we might be in the same category as the team we like to pick on in Cincinnati, but yeah, not looking too promising right now. It's really, really hurtful.
Yeah, it's tough.
In year 3.
I was on the Cincinnati podcast last night. They had me on as a guest. I did it last year with them as well. Solid group of guys, but yeah, we're right on their level now. There's not even like any pride I can hang over their head or anything like that. We might take the wooden spoon, but Mr. Papa George, how you doing, buddy?
Did you say a one-footed duck?
Yeah, man, it swims in a circle.
No, I got it. I think we all got the visual right now.
Yeah. That's like a pretty common saying in the South.
So what you're saying is we're doing a lot of something, but we're not really going very far.
That is basically 100% what I'm saying. There's a whole lot of movement, but it's not really going in any direction in particular.
Yeah, this season, needless to say, has not been as exciting as I think all of us would have hoped it was. We actually spent this last weekend celebrating your son, our security guard, his 5th year birthday party, and we popped over to Stout over on Andrews Avenue, as you people who come to the stadium often know where it is. And yeah, we watched the second half of that debauchery, and gotta say, it was not fun.
Yeah. I mean, it's was it more painful like on a real TV or more painful just on my phone at the birthday party?
It was definitely more painful on the real TV because at the birthday party there was some pretty funny shit that happened. I'll be honest with you.
That's fair. Well,
I gotta say, it was painful for me. I went from seeing Ronaldo notch that hat trick to immediately turning it over and seeing a red card to Breck Shea and throwing my phone, going, "What the hell just happened?"
Yeah,
it was, the highest of highs and lowest of lows.
We're going to get into all of that for sure. But welcome, everyone, to the Inter Miami podcast. I am Jay Kinkton, Alex Papa George back in the studio. Alongside as well is Mr. Than Harrington. So welcome, everyone. We do have, I guess, some good news we can share. We do have one good thing we can share. I'm going to go ahead and pass this one over to Than because there's no one in this world that loves the Academy in Fort Lauderdale CF / Inter Miami 2 more than Than Harrington. Tracked it all. So I'm going to let you report this lovely news that we are very excited about.
Our boy, Noah Allen, finally gets that homegrown contract. It is something I've been excited for, been anticipating, been watching, waiting for this to happen. Obviously, with the deficiencies in the defensive line, we're going to need him as much as he's inexperienced. He's going to provide some sort of coverage in the left back spot, which we sorely need. His contract's running through the 2024 season with club options through 2025 and 2026. I could go on and on about how much I love Noah, but what do you guys think? What do you guys think of this deal?
I'm extremely pleased with it. This is something I thought had a very, very high chance of happening. I'm glad to see it come through. we definitely could use some additional support on that left side. We've been without Kieran Gibbs, but, we've got some news on that in a little bit as well. But that back line, it's like I said, it's a platypus, man. It's all strewn together. Breck was disappointing this past game, and that's probably putting it very, very likely. We'll use them. We can definitely use the extra bodies out there, and I think the more that we can have Noah Allen develop, the better off we'll be. Probably in a year or two, especially in 2 years once these sanctions are done and he's got some game time experience under his belt.
You must love the word platypus.
I mean, I think that's a great analogy. So I'm gonna bring that up again. I
honestly haven't heard this word in probably like 2 decades, and for the last 2 weeks, you've used the word platypus 3 times. Hilarious, but even more hilarious. How many people listening right now has ever gotten a call from a porn star? Probably not many. Well, this one is not the porn star you want to be calling you. That was super awkward. We used to work with a guy. I will not disclose his name. Jay, what's his Instagram handle? It's like Barry's Big Boobs or something like that.
We're gonna plug a male porn star's website, are we?
Listen, we have 0 sponsors for this podcast. Might as well give our boy a fucking plug. And dude, when you pop this son of a bitch on Instagram, I'm sorry. He's telling me to just stop cussing here. But anyway, when you move into Barry's Boob World or whatever it's called.
Barry's Love World.
It's like Evander Holyfield just got knocked with an uppercut that just took the dude down. It's literally double D's on double D's. But anyway, Noah Allen.
Let's digress.
How can you segue out of that?
I can pivot real fast, guys.
How can you segue into it, and how do you even segue out of that?
Not as fascinating as the 2 things that just happened to me with the platypus and big boobs. But anyway, Noah Allen. Yes, Than, you hit it right on the head. It's glad to see this guy get a motherfucking contract inside of Major League Soccer. Good for him. He has played each and every game very, very well. And honestly, he hasn't been the problem. It's been everything else with this club. So I am looking forward. I'm happy to say Noah is officially a part of the senior club here, the big boys. And, hopefully he stays for a long time because that kid's got a little bit of talent.
Well, if it's anything like this past off season, we like to get rid of people apparently. But let's get into this game recap in case anyone's been living under a rock. We like to maybe say a few words to our first time listeners who just decide like, hey man, now's a good time to jump into to Inter Miami and really go heavy into the podcast world. We did lose that game to LAFC, final score of 2-0. Oh man, there's so much to unpack here. But goals by Opoku, goals by Tajori Shroudy. Biggest news, and someone correct me if I'm wrong, biggest news here, Breck turned around, playing horrible passes, and then, of course, ends up getting the red card. But let's start with, I guess, the initial game. Hey, here's some news. We came out in a 4-2-3-1. I'm pretty excited about this. I would like to see us stay in this more attacking-minded formation. Than, did you see anything that caught your eye about the formation switch? Good, bad, indifferent?
Not really. I mean, it looked like the team again was trying to find their footing in a new formation that maybe Phil had tinkered with for a little bit. And the first, at least to me, 5 to 10 minutes, it felt like they were trying to find that footing, but they gained more confidence as the game went on. Unfortunately, too little, too late. But I think if we stay with this and utilize the folks we have in our lineup that are not injured, it could be beneficial. It really could be going forward.
If we can keep all 11 players on the pitch. Alex, what's it like, man? Because, we're all such big Breck fans. What was it like seeing our boy? He's had a rough couple games here. Not the start that he was hoping for, not the start that the fans were hoping here. Is what's going on with the Lizard King, man?
Yeah, I don't know, man. I mean, he might have some running bet with Nico Figal and LGP, you know, who can get the most red cards while they're no longer on the club. But I don't know, man. I mean, it was super tough to tell because, you know, like, you know, we spent most of the first half, you know, at Quinn's birthday party, right? And just, you know, watching the game on your phone, talking with your parents, all that crap, you know, just
a little distracted,
super difficult, you know.
Yeah.
And what was also distracting was that little boy who turned around and gave us all a nice little peep
Bro,
show.
all right,
But
dude,
all right,
stop it.
All right, I'm done. But no, the reality is that with the formation, I would like to see a little bit more of it. It was tough to judge, you know, especially not being able to fully sit down and digest the entire first half. And then obviously the second half, towards the back end of the first, with Brett going out, you know, you can never really judge a formation when they're missing a player. So I think that all kind of rolls up to the same type of ecosystem and ethos that we're talking about here. So, you know, I guess I'm, you know, not overly impressed given that we didn't score one time, but I wouldn't mind giving another shot with a full club out there.
Yeah. So the second half started. Leonardo Campana. It's not Campana. Someone corrected us. I can't remember off the top of my head, but thank you. It is Campana. No Nye, and it translates to Bell. Strong last name. So he was subbed off to bring on Quinteros to reconstruct a back four. I thought personally, defense played better once Breck went off. We switched up to more of a 4-4-1 kind of formation. But I really think a lot of this is, I know Quinteros has had some issues, but Breck was just having one after the other. It was really tough. And I mean, like going back to the Austin game, like Noah Allen had a really rough first half, you know, and it's just these mistakes are really stunting any positive movement that we can make in the first half. So Quinteros comes on. I thought the back line did a much better job, especially considering they're playing down a man. Is you know, hypothetically, we're going to get into the Gibbs situation. If Gibbs isn't ready to go, and your options are, well, it can't be Brett because he's going to be suspended off the red. Are you going Quinteros, or are you going our boy Noah Allen in that left wing spot?
I would have to go Noah Allen. Quinteros is, I don't know, just watching him play, like, it gives me ulcers. There's times where I just don't trust what he's doing out there, and I would rather have Noah Allen backed by someone with a little more experience rather than leave Quinteros out there and never know what you're going to get out of it. At least with Allen, you know there's going to be some youthful mistakes, and you know what to expect.
I think it's like I don't know what the term I'm looking for, right? But there's a kind of risk reward situation, right? I think Allen is more beneficial in the attack. I think Quinteros has a little bit more experience to where he could have a little bit more security there. But this is gonna be something to keep our eye on. Hopefully, we're not worrying about this because hopefully Gibbs will be back soon. But moving off the defense, I mean, Gonzalo. Where's this man been? It seems like he's just a ghost out there. I think he had it's like the third fewest touches on the pitch or something. It's just miserable. This system isn't working. I'm a little thrown off because I thought really once we went to like a 4-2-3-1, him playing more as like a true cam and not, you know, the two center forward system would be an improvement. But dude, he is just, the body language is not there. Everything we were told has just not been true as far as being a leader and the body language. And now we're seeing all these media outlets really let into him. Anyone from ESPN, some of the local outlets down here, you know, ETR as well was speaking about it. Is this the time that we bench Gonzalo?
Absolutely. And without a doubt. He's not bringing anything to the table. You know he's going to be gone after this year. Why not let him and maybe just remind him that he is expendable at this point? Let him ride the pine, collect himself, and if he wants to play ball, cool, let's go. If he doesn't, he's on the bench. We really have nothing left to lose. After Federico retired, his handler's gone, so he has no one to rein him back in. It's one of those things that you're just gonna have to let it play its course, kind of like Matuidi last year. It sucks, but that's where we're at.
In agreement, Alex, or?
Well, I mean, let's take a step back. Conteros, what's his salary on the team?
Oh goodness, I'm not gonna know that.
Is he 2.7 million off the top of my head?
I will find out for you real quick.
Hit me with that.
Keep talking while I look it up.
Well, see, why I'm asking that question is, before I answer the question about Gonzalo, is more related to Noah Allen and Quinteros. And if you bench both him and Gonzalo Higuain, you are quite literally removing the two highest paid players on your team from the starting lineup, which is super, super difficult to digest, given that we are already one DP down from the rest of the league, given the sanctions that we already have.
Sorry, I think you're confusing him with Andres Reyes as far as his salary level goes, because I feel like 2.7 that would have to be DP. Let's see where we are. Where the hell? There's so many names.
Just control F it.
I'm in like a list. So about that's just his market value. They're so sneaky with keeping all this stuff under wraps.
Why are they so sneaky with it? It should be pretty obvious.
It says his market value is about 600,000.
Well, I may be mistaken.
So
on that.
hold on, Quinteros' base salary is $66K.
Oh shit! Well, I was way off on that. That's, I mean, but in all due respect, that's about 16% higher than Breck Shea the first year.
Drake Calendar makes double what Quinteros makes.
Jesus. All right. So how does that factor into your thought process?
It factors a lot into my thought process behind this. Then you should sit his ass down and you should put Noah on the pitch, because you are absolutely right. Then let's get the kid a little bit more PT. He's a little bit younger. He's a little bit more sustained value for us. But
that's what you meant by let's take it back. Okay.
Yeah, we're talking a little bit about there, because I was curious. I was like, if we're going to bench our two highest paid players on the pitch, then I don't know if that's exactly the best move. But I mean, Jay, you know me, since last year I've been talking about benching Gonzalo Higuain. To me, I understand why he's here. I get that it's the big flash when we brought him in. He's never fit inside of this club. He's never fit inside the new coaching regime. He doesn't fit on the pitch. He doesn't fit anywhere, which way or what about it. The people who are at the game, the number one thing that we were all talking about in the stands was just how Gonzalo was clogging up everything that was happening inside of the middle in front of our final third. And that just doesn't work inside of this system that Phil Neville is putting together. So I don't see a place anywhere on the club with him. And obviously it's tough to cut your number one player and your highest paid player, but if you're not going to cut him, to sit his ass down and see who else is out there.
But it's also probably easier to cut him because, let's be honest, he hasn't made an attempt to connect with the fan base. The fan base is calling for his head. Phil Neville's going to be looking to take some of the heat off of his backside. So he's going to put the blame on Gonzalo and say, hey, you're going to take the fall for this. You created this monster. Now you need to put it to bed.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people are turning on him. I think it's very notable, not noticeable, but notable. Well, also noticeable because nobody noticed him at practice today. He was practicing indoor by himself, which I don't know. That seems like not a good thing. I think they might be really trying to send a message, or maybe even start the process of kind of working him out of the starting lineup. Who do we replace him with? Are you putting Robbie Taylor as your cam? Are you, and then flank him with, Robbie Robinson or Emerson, and then Lassiter on the right, I guess. I mean, I wouldn't be opposed to that. He would certainly have more energy. I mean, Gonzalo seems to not run at all if you're not going to play the ball. It's like he doesn't even want to interject himself into the play. It's either pass me the ball or I'm just going to stand here. Very, very tough, especially considering that when we want to press on defense, we do require you to, move your feet a little bit, which seems like he's not too keen on it. So something going, keep an eye on this. I would say over the next 3 games, going to be very telling if we do substitute him, if we do play, say, a Robbie Taylor or some, variation, and he does well. I mean, then Gonzalo might just be coming off the bench, which honestly, let's consider him a super sub in the 60th or 70th minute. That might actually be a little more potent to finish games potentially if we're only requiring 20 minutes of physical exertion compared to 90.
I mean, I'll double down on what I said last episode. Put Mota in at the center attacking mid spot and have him put his energy up there with the rest of the newer talent. He looks like he wants to break out, but he's not in the right position. If you guys remember last episode, I talked about he came in predominantly playing the center attacking mid spot. Give him a shot. What do you have left to lose at this point?
I like the shot he put on target. I mean, it was quick. It was a good strike on it. I would not be opposed to that at all. But I guess if there's a team to do it, right? If there's a team to try a new 10, Cincinnati's got to be one of the best options in the league, right?
I mean, Cincinnati or San Jose at this point.
Yeah, or Charlotte, even though, hey, they've scored. They scored in the last one, but give a hell of a fight to Atlanta. I think it was like the 96th minute that Atlanta scored 2 wins. So overall, man, it's tough. In the midfield, it seems like all we do is just pass to get rid of the ball. We're not passing to create chances. We're not passing to get in attacking position. There is such a disconnect between the lines of this team and being able to move the ball efficiently. One of the things, and I really, I recorded the game and I really wanted to go through it again, but I just couldn't find the time to commit 90 minutes to doing this. But I wanted to count how many times we just pass back to Diop and then he just boots it up there and possession's gone. It was something absolutely ridiculous. But you know what? Here again, we've done our service to being honest and being fair critics of the team. So positives. What are some positives you took away, Alex?
Some positives?
Give me a positive.
I mean, Noah Allen did just get signed. We're one step closer to Marsman back in between goal. Yeah, I mean, there's not too many positives to hang your hat on when you have 1 goal in 3 games. We were all hoping that the average points, at the very minimum, goals scored per game improved. And if anything, we are way behind schedule.
I shot over on way too many players when you were asking me.
Yeah, we were talking about that at Stout. You really had Higuain as the front runner of the league this year, but we'll see how that.
Not the front runner of the league, but just like the obvious front runner.
Listen. The biggest positives, honestly, that I can take is that we have Cincinnati next.
Fair, okay. I mean that's probably the most valid one that there is, honestly. Than what we're. Give me one good positive.
DeAndre Yedlin's the player we thought he was. He is attacking up that right side, but the big thing is too, he is the voice of calm and reason for the club. He's going to tell it how it is. He's not going to pull any punches. If you're not pulling your weight, he's going to let you know. And we'll get into his post-game press conference here in a little bit. But he is what we need, along with Gregory and some of the other players, to be the anti-Gonzalo, to be the, hey, you screwed up. I'm going to pat you on the back. I'm going to tell you what you did wrong. Now let's fix it. Let's move forward. I loved his energy. I loved his commitment to the club that he's shown across the past 3 games. And I love that he's our player. That's the positive you can take out of this. He is our player. He is going to be great for us for a few years.
Will we be great to him? That is that's the question. Is that going to be a reciprocated feeling there? I'm going to stick with Robbie Taylor. I really like what I'm seeing. He seems to make the least amount of mistakes on the team, and I would love to switch it up. I think it sends a message to Gonzalo Bencham, and the positive is that spot, I would say, is not as cemented as it was, and there could be some competition in there, and we are here for it. So let's speak a little bit about this Phil Neville post game. I could have said Mo Adams is a lion as something positive, but we're going to get into this in a little bit. Than what? Go ahead and run through a little bit of this post game and what your thoughts were.
All right, so this one was probably the roughest one I've seen since Phil's been here. He looked exasperated. He looked just confused, lost. He continually said the senior players need to step up. He felt like the team was heading in the right direction before the red card. He thought the red card may have come out too quickly. I don't necessarily agree with him. He felt that it wasn't a clear and obvious goal scoring opportunity. I'm not quite sure how you don't see that.
Yeah. That's dog show all day.
I mean, what did you guys think about that?
I mean, that was a clear red. You pulled him down when he was getting past you. And it's Brian Rodriguez, right? It's not like he's a slow player. He's gonna break away, and there's a pretty high percentage shot that he'll have and good chance of scoring. So I honestly think it's the right call.
And the maddening thing, though, is if you watch the reverse replay, DeAndre was catching him. Even if Brett got blown past, DeAndre was catching him.
That's what I saw. That's what I noticed. But, you know, I don't know. I think Breck, was it a bad decision? It was tactical. You know, you don't want to go down 2-0 before a half, but, you know, Yedlin does have some speed to him. So, yeah, there was a chance, but I guess Breck doesn't deal in if, ands, or buts. He only deals in positives. Anyway, you know, moving on, he was very high though, on Mo Adams. Did you see anything that, I don't know. I didn't see it. I don't understand it. Like, yeah, he was okay, but nothing like he's the what was the term he used? Like the standard of how Inter Miami midfielders should be. I haven't really seen anything positive from the midfield this season. It's been very, very tough. I don't know, man. I don't know if he's the one.
I got to be honest. I heard him say that, and I know for a fact I stopped it. I laughed. I sent you a text, and then I went back and watched the film to see if I noticed anything Mo Adams had done, and I didn't see him on the highlights or anything. So, I mean, if that's the standard, he set the bar really low, and it's kind of unfortunate for the rest of the midfielders we have.
Yeah. And, you know, he seemed a little frustrated with that question, right? Kind of like stood up, kind of slapped the table. He was also very critical of Gonzalo, you know, saying he's really got to step up. It's time for him to perform again. I think we're all pretty rational, sports-minded individuals. We've seen a lot of it on the interwebs, Discord, stuff like that, fans going back and forth. Alex, is it 3 games into the season? Is it too soon for the fans to start turning on Phil? Is it too soon for them to start calling for his head now that he's got a whole brand new team of quote unquote his players?
Oh man, I don't know. The fans might have turned on him when Diego Alonso was coaching. Who knows? This fan base, you know, it has a tendency to get a little extreme pretty quickly, if I do say so myself. But listen, if you've listened to this podcast over the years, you know that I support a little bit of longevity in the leadership roles. But I gotta say, guys, watching the post-game press conference with Phil was maybe a little bit uneasy. And the reason why it made me a little bit uneasy is because you never want to see the head of the snake, your El Capitan, really kind of talking the way that he's talking, right? And I think that that's really when problems in the locker room start to happen. You know, Jay, you just talked about Higuain, you know, playing football by himself, you know, at practice, right? That is a clear red flag. When we start talking about blaming other players and, you know, stepping up, and guys, I mean, how many times have you heard the idea of, like, you know, these high-level players like Gregory or, you know, even Yeldon saying, hey, the fans don't deserve this, you know, we need to play better. Like, I'm honestly just tired of hearing that. And I understand that it's some, you know, rational explanation. You have to say that. You know, we are a community, we are a fan base and all that types of stuff. But, you know, at some point it's just kind of like put up or shut up a little bit. And I think that, you know, Phil's impression that he gave in that press conference was just that. I think that he got a little bit, I think, on edge with everything that's going on. This is not the start that he was expecting to have. You know, Jay, you just said these are more of his guys. And, you know, this is the first year of Chris Henderson really having kind of that entire offseason to build a program that he's looking to have. But again, I kind of always err on the side of, you know, we are still early. This is not the start that we all wanted to have. This is our 3rd year as an expansion club. And I know when we compare ourselves to things like Nashville and, you know, Austin and even some of these newer clubs with 75,000 people showing up at the games in Charlotte, you know, we want to kind of compare, you know, apples to apples. But listen, guys, that's just not our story. And that's just not the reality of our story that we're going to tell as Inter Miami. But what really matters is who's going to hold that cup up first, right? And, you know, these teams can come out to hot starts. They can play as well as they want. But until you're holding that cup, to me, it's just, it doesn't really matter. So, in my opinion, we have the piece of the puzzle that truthfully matters, and that's Chris Henderson. I think that with any organization really starts at that level of the entire program working together. And whether Phil's our guy or not, I really want to give him the benefit of the doubt here getting going and seeing how the rest of the season progresses. So Jay, I guess very long-windedly answering your question, I think that 3 games is not enough time to tell that Phil Neville is our guy. We have an entire season, and I would rather us keep Phil Neville no matter how he's doing throughout this season than to let him go after 3, 4, 5 games and start this entire process over. So that's where I would probably put my position right now.
And I think that's fair. I mean, I think again we're pretty level headed. I mean, we've seen, Than, you've been active in the Discord about, these people are kind of just, we can't just be getting rid of people, a few games into the season or in such a short time. We got to give them time. But that frustration was in that room was palpable. It was very easy to sense. Do you think that frustration that Phil is showing, is that more from, a disappointment in himself or the players, or is that more kind of friction?
Jay, that's pressure right there. That is pure pressure. That is pressure from above. That's pressure from your inner circle. That's pressure from your players. That's pressure from everywhere around. That is absolute pressure.
Okay. So I thought that was going to be the other option. Yeah, it was pressure of the media or the environment, all that. And kind of concerning, right? We're only 3 games in. We could go on we did a 6-game win streak last season, 11 games unbeaten. We could hit another one of those, and then hey, bam, we're right back to where we need to be and all this. So it is definitely a little prematurely to act over here, but something's got to give. Something's got to change, and I don't know, man. I don't know. It's just disappointing, but look, we really can't get much worse. And then DeAndre went ahead and spoke to the press afterwards. What do you take away from that then?
Again, like I already said, he's the leader that we need him to be. He feels the team is and has enough to do well and compete. He loves the amount of drive and focus the team has, and it was kind of what I took to be a subtle shot was that he wished all 11 players had the same drive and focus on the field at the same time. He said he's willing to help out in any role, and that he actually gave major shout out to Damian Lowe. He said Damian gives him the confidence to play more aggressively, is never concerned when Lowe is playing beside him, praise him on the ball and his forward play. Pretty much at the end of it all, he just said the team needs to get back to basics. Simple passes needed to be completed in order to compete, which goes along with what we were saying. We had 50% long ball passing against LAFC. We need to focus on getting the ball up the field with simple, direct cutting passes. And, DeAndre sees it, and hopefully he'll be the one that pushes the rest of the team to get on board with it.
I sure hope so, because look, man, there's definitely been some struggles here, and I don't want to kind of
like don't you just feel like it was yesterday we were talking about how easy the schedule was in the first beginning part of this year?
Yeah, and it's not going to get pretty. April is going to be a very rough month. We need to go ahead and get a win in Cincinnati, because we're going to have our medal test.
We really need a win.
We are going to have our absolute medal test. So let me run through this April for you guys.
Yeah, well, Jay,
right? So we got Cincinnati.
As you do that, though, let me break you down real quick, because last year we did beat Cincinnati in their home stadium opener. That type of stuff stays inside someone's brain. So better be prepared. This ain't no Cincinnati team that's going to roll over.
No, I mean, we beat Cincinnati many times.
That was last year.
Yeah, but I mean, it's still Cincinnati. But April's going to start off hot. We're getting Houston, we're getting New England, we're getting Seattle, we're getting Atlanta, we're getting New England again. So not going to get any better, especially if our defense is leaking and can't stop any through balls. We're just losing all types of contested balls, aerial duels. Can't get any goals and not really finishing. Possessions not really in our favor. Even though at times it seems like we're having more passes. One thing I really noticed was that LAFC was just so much more efficient with the ball. It took so few passes to get up there into an attacking space. But we've got to tighten it up because it's getting rough. And then one other thing I wanted to mention here, because right, our advantage being down in South Florida is, you know, a lot of our players are Latin from warmer climates, and our stadium, you know, can get pretty hot some days. And as we saw, the wind can come from one side, switch to the other. We've seen hurricanes come. We've seen rain moving sideways. Are cooling breaks a fair thing to do? Like, I don't want to put any players in situations where they would, you know, be harmed or anything necessarily, quote unquote, unhealthy for them. But I know the cooling breaks were there during like the MLS's back tournament, just because people were, you know, it was a really inconsistent season, and they didn't want anyone that was not up to match fitness to have any issues. But I just feel like when we're having a break every half, we're losing one of our major advantages, which is kind of this, you know, tropical, humid environment that sucks the energy out of you. Are these fair things we can keep doing, or should we be protesting and saying no cooling breaks?
You got to keep them. I mean, if you take them out, the players are going to revolt because they're going to focus, rightly so, towards player safety. It's not about having a advantage or disadvantage, or, I mean, the last game you had a cooling break in the middle of pouring down rain. I mean, like, I don't know. You got to keep it. You got to keep it for the player safety, at least, especially in the hotter climates. If you're having a cooling break in New England in the beginning of March, I mean, that's something different you need to look at, but that's just where I stand on it.
Fair. Does every game in the MLS has these types of cooling breaks?
No, I think there's a threshold with temperature. I think it's like 88 degrees or something like that.
A kickoff during game, average temperature per year.
I guess during kickoff. Or I mean, I don't know if they're tracking the heat throughout the
MLS. The MLS mandates the use of cooling breaks when it's over 82 degrees.
82 degrees?
82 degrees? Are you kidding me?
Bro,
it's 82 degrees outside right now.
I should have been getting so many more cooling breaks when I was playing football.
I can read this verbatim. MLS mandates the use of cooling breaks if the wet bulb globe temperature measures 82 degrees Fahrenheit or higher. Additionally, the referee can at any time implement a discretionary drinks break during cases in which player safety is determined to be at risk. The fourth official will read the WBGT at the kickoff spot at the conclusion of the pre-warm-up match. A second reading will occur after the whistle blows for the end of the half to determine if a hydration break is needed. Cooling breaks last 180 seconds. And I mean, they have a whole run-on on the website about the whole cooling break thing. But yeah, 82 degrees.
I wonder what the rules are with, like, in the Champions League, or I mean, England's typically pretty damn cold throughout the season, but maybe in another part of the world, I wonder if there's similar, policies in place. 82 degrees sounds pretty weak. But getting back to a point I wanted to ask here is, Yedlin said he's willing to take on any role to help the team out. Right? He's not the player to piss and moan when being played out of position. Was this a shot at Gonzalo?
Absolutely. I absolutely believe it was. I mean, both pressers were attacks at Higuain, to be honest, between what Phil said and what DeAndre said. Just DeAndre had a little more disguise to his words.
Fair enough. Well, let's move forward. Let's move on, guys. Let's keep this thing positive, right? It's so hard to do, but we're going to try. You know what? Oh, man. Moving on to the next subject, we're talking about positivity. Power rankings, man. Power rankings. Yeah, we're dead last.
What's the positive spin?
I don't know.
The fastest way from point A to point B is a straight line?
The positive is we can't regress anymore. Like, we can't be ranked lower. I mean, it's pretty bad. Let's say the MLS said, to be blunt, people are going to pick on Breck Shea, center back, which shows people that they don't even really watch the game, right? Because he's played as a left back. Also, I wanted to mention that the announcers are just horrible, talking about, Inter Miami's playing in a 5-3-2. I'm like, bro, we literally disclose the players in the formations. Like, just look at your sheet before we come out. We're in a 4-2-3-1. But the rest of the team has a lot of question marks. Been a tough year in South Florida with some juicy quotes already coming out of post game, which I mean, it's just Phil, kind of complaining again. So, oh man, are we worse than Cincinnati?
Dude, we're worse than San Jose. Let's not even talk about Cincinnati. Let's talk about San Jose, who in their last game against Philly had a total team expected goal of 0.3. And they are 2 spots ahead of us. Well, that's how bad this is right now.
I've seen people talk themselves into things, but I've never seen someone talk themselves out of something so fast. Yes, Jay. The answer is yes.
Man, tough time.
This is going to be a good game. I mean, I know we've been kind of like laughing about Cincinnati, but I'm telling you, Cincy, they ain't laughing right now. Like, this is something that, guys, Dan, you're shaking your head right now, bro. We cannot lose this game. Like, I hope we understand this.
Is this
if
do
we
or die?
pop back on the microphones next week, guys, we cannot lose this game.
Is this do or die?
We are going to be.
Who's next?
We're going to be haunted by the OFC Cincinnati chant after next weekend.
Bro,
we are going to hear that.
This is the player's curse right here, dude.
I feel like Don Garber is going to make an exception and just relegate Inter Miami this year. Just put us into. We're going to be Inter Miami 2 and 3 in the MLS is next.
I mean, let's go with that. Like, what's your defense? Like, how are you sitting in a court and being like, no, this should not happen?
Oh man. Well, let's talk about this next game, right? It is Cincinnati.
Well, who is after Cincinnati?
Houston.
And then who's after Houston?
New England.
Oh boy.
Then Seattle. Oh. Then Atlanta. Then New England again.
The Max Ramos game.
Oh God, dude. Yeah. Okay.
Is that in Atlanta or in Fort Lauderdale?
I want to say that would be Atlanta. I'm pretty sure because that's what
every game's in Atlanta.
The fourth game. I will double check that for us right now. Let's talk about the game though, man. I mean, it's Cincinnati, right? They are the perennial worst team in the league, but it's a brand new year, and there's plenty of they don't have to be in that spot anymore. Is what I'm getting at. Do have some studs. I think Brenner's dealing with some injuries actually, but. I mean, Lucha Acosta, man, if we could get us an Acosta, that would be, I think, exactly what we need. Now, Than, Kieran Gibbs was listed as a full participant in practice today, training up for this game. What are the chances? Give me like a percentage of probability that he's a starter.
It's a tough one because, anybody who's had herniated discs know it could feel great one day and be completely shit the next. I'll go 50-50. I think if he's good to go, he's a big enough professional. He's going to give it a go. I would love to see him out there. I know I'm excited to see Noah play, but having Kieran Gibbs in a spot where we need him the most right now, we're going to need him out there.
Fair enough. So to answer your question, Atlanta is in dry pink. So that'll be a home game. Maybe Max comes down and we all just beat him up. We all just like follow him down the alley and just mob Max Ramos.
I'll fly down for that.
Yeah. Question. I mean, Cincinnati's defense is leaky as hell as well, to be fair. Whose defense is worse? Who's giving up more goals here? Us or Cincinnati?
I plead the fifth.
Dan?
Oh, I'll go right for the throat. Ours.
Okay. See, I love how the confidence, man. We're like, oh yeah,
Damn. Okay, I got something for you. I've been a little quiet because I've been trying to do a little level 2 research, and I got it on mybookie.com, right? So like the real shit here. MyBookie has us as the actual underdog by 0.5. So we are not the favorite against Cincinnati. We are a 0.5 underdog. How does that make you feel?
You can't make me feel worse, man.
Listen,
I'm slumped over in the corner bleeding out over here.
It's okay. The line on the game in total goals is only 2.5, so they're only really expecting 2.
Yeah, so I think we've all been a little aggressive with our scoreline predictions this season. I'm going to pat myself on the back because I said I'm going to be humble, and actually I predicted us losing 2-0 to LAFC, which happened. So at least I can take that little bit of solace out of the loss, is that hey, look, sometimes I can do my job and actually get this right. But scoreline here, I'm going to go first. I've already given mine to the Cincinnati podcast, so I'm going to have to keep it 100 and do the same. I'm going 2-2 draw. We both walk away with a point because we're both just wooden spoon contenders, neck and neck. Dan, what you got?
Can I plead the fifth on this one?
Nope.
Because I'm not. Okay. Nope. All right. You asked for it. I'm going to go 3-0 to the Orange and Blue out of Cincinnati.
Man. How times have changed, bro.
And this is why. Diop looks shell-shocked. Our defensive line is just shaky as the last brick at a Jenga tower right now. Like, we just don't have any confidence. I'm hurt
about the Diop thing, man, because, like, you weren't really high on him when we got him, and I was high on him, and then, he had that pretty good first game, and I was like, you know what? Yeah. Like, look, he's good, but man, you're right. The past 2 games, he's looked completely, out of it, honestly.
And I think the thing that pisses me off the most is we got Diop and Roman Berkey just signed with St. Louis SC.
Yeah, I saw that today.
And like, Berkey turned down Bayern Munich to go to St. Louis.
He's got to be a DP player, right? Did they go DP keeper?
I would think so.
They would have to, right? If
I would believe so. Yeah.
You're not turning down Bayern for $400,000 per year. Bayern's going to pay you like $400,000 like per month, if not per week,
to play, to knit and do crochet behind Manuel Neuer.
He's going to make him nice little hats and cute little mittens. Yeah, that's tough, man.
But yeah, I don't know. I just wish we could have got him over Diop. Nothing personally against the guy. We put him in some bad spots. Marsman's our dude. He's done what he can for us better than Drake could have.
Yeah.
So
come back to us,
nothing
Nicky.
Personal.
Come back to us, Nicky. All right, Alex, what's your prediction here, bud?
Man, I thought stepping in this podcast today, I thought I was the only one who was thinking Cincinnati over here.
Damn, dude, I can't believe we're even speaking these words.
Man, that's wild. But wow, I'm still in a little bit of shock. But honestly, I was going with the tie too. I don't think either team is better than the other, to be honest with you. I think this is a 1-1 tie. I think I'm going to respect the Vegas line and play it a little bit more than Jay sitting at that 4 goals. I'm going to play a little bit closer to the 2.5 that Vegas is pitching out there. If you were a degenerate, go ahead, put a little bit of money on the game, do your thing, follow us, see which one wins. I don't think it's going to be Jay. I could definitely see it Dan going over Jay, and I can
What's
also
your score line, though?
I said 1-1.
Oh, you said 1-1?
Yeah,
okay.
1-1
So
tie.
1-1 draw? Okay.
Yeah,
so
I think it's going to be a 1-1 tie. And I think both goals are going to be really, 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 really stupid.
The FIFA cheese goals.
I can't even I can't even refute it, honestly, at this point. I'm just going to continue this like humility tour on score lines until this team proves me wrong, because
I like it, dude. Broken clock's right twice a day.
Yeah, exactly, man. I'm a professional. All right, we'll see how it's going. This game is Saturday in Cincinnati at TQL Stadium at Breck Shea's second home. But man, Breck needs to get it together. He won't even be there. I keep forgetting he's off. He's spinning on red cards. Game's at 1:00 p.m. Looks to be on ESPN plus local channels per usual. Inter Miami app per usual. Man, struggling with the words. So some other news that happened. Some miscellaneous news with the team. Inter Miami and Grubhub partner to bring mobile ordering and pickup to Drive Pink Stadium. Kind of interesting. We've heard a lot of people complaining about the price of concessions at this stadium.
Wait, so you can order something from the actual stadium or tailgating from the parking lot and then come deliver it for free?
Yeah, I guess you can just eat it at the... Is there like a designated section that we have to eat it in, or can we just go take that to the stands?
No, you have to
I
eat
think
it
you can
before
take
go
it
in
straight
there.
to the stands from what I saw.
They check people for water bottles, drug, stuff like that.
Yeah.
You gotta eat you there's no way they let you inside
So
with a
we
pizza.
could get like a whole like low country seafood boil and just like
sell it inside.
carry these buckets up to the stands, I guess. I like that. Is that going to hurt the stands? I mean, the stadium's concessions though. If you got to pay, $6, $8, $9 for a hot dog, $5 for a bag of chips. Does that beat out the Uber Eats service fees and taxes and all that? Or Grubhub, sorry, but there's still like the service fee and everything.
Or like the tip?
Just like they charge a couple dollars just to do the transaction. You know how it goes.
Well, I think that also determines, the gas prices. If the gas prices go down, it's going to be beneficial for folks to pick up food from Grubhub. If Grubhub has to continue to charge more because gas prices keep going up, you'll see more people flocking to the concessions in the stadium.
Are we taking this political?
Just saying.
Just kidding. All right. Well, Than, you've always been a very eco-minded person, right? Save the trees. For those of you that don't know, Than was part of an organization before joining the podcast where they'd go up to the Pecos Mountains. And Than would chain himself to trees and prevent lumberjacks from cutting down the tree to save the environment. And this man has a track record of saving trees, saving Mother Earth, and making the world a better place. Than, tell us about the new recycling initiative that you're so happy about.
Yeah. My track record speaks for itself, I guess. Lumberjacks getting jacked in the woods and saving trees.
I forgot to mention like the anti-whaling boat that you were on, spraying water on the whale poachers.
Yeah. It's kind of like my own version of Greenpeace, but it's pepper spray instead of water, and it's not very friendly. But so Heineken is partnering with us to reward Inter Miami fans for recycling. Kind of hoping to keep the stadium more clean and family friendly, unlike what unfolded on Sunday with the massive windstorm of trash that went across the stadium.
Yes, it looked rough out there. It looked like Mad Max Wasteland. Dude.
Those winds were insane.
I saw a whole streamer, what looked to be like 30 feet of a streamer just flying in the wind there. But then like towards the end of the game, it was just all broken up pieces of trash all over the field.
I saw like a flying baby.
Someone lost their baby. My only question here is, I think there's 4 machines they're putting up in the stadium. How quick is this process? Because to my understanding, you put the can in there, right? So you're going to take the 24-ounce tall boys. You're going to put it in there. I don't know how long it's going to, is it like a red box where it takes a while to put it in there? And then it says you'll be able to scan a QR code and you can win items. Some like team swag or whatever. They even said you could potentially win jerseys, which would be impressive. But depending on how long this process of putting your can in there and then waiting to get your QR code, like, is this thing even going to be efficient if everyone is wanting to get ideally like a jersey from it? Is there going to be a massive line at halftime of these machines?
I don't know. It's gonna be interesting to see how it plays out, especially over the next couple of weeks as they have them put in and are used. But to your point, if you have to sit there and wait for it, people are just going to huck it in the same bin they've been hucking it in since the stadium opened. So
yeah.
What's the point?
Yeah, it's like a direct correlation of time in line versus chance I'm just going to say screw it and throw this away into the trash, and you know what, not my chair, not my problem. We'll see how this works out. Maybe they're going to just have to put a bunch in there, because I'll tell you one thing, I'm not going to like leave the game, in mid of like first or second half and like, oh wait, the line's not there, I'm going to go recycle right now. Like, no, like we're going to stay there and have a good time.
Well, Jay, apparently, according to Chris Allen, the team did thorough research and listened to our supporters, and they found out the sustainability was high on the list of importance for fan base.
Wait, I just had a realization. They take our cans and pour them into plastic cups. We're not even be able to recycle the cans. This must be for like the East and West and South stands. Have you ever had a can of beer in your stadium since like the first season?
Not since the first season when they took that privilege away.
Yeah, right. They revoked that, and now they're teasing us with it, but we can't. Or maybe we're just recycling plastic.
No. So to your point, the 4 RVMs, as they're calling them, are in the following locations. Next to the Heineken bar on the north side, there's 2. There's one in section 120 and 121 on the east side, and one in 104 and 105 on the west side. That's it.
But if I don't have a can because you won't let me hold the can because you don't trust me, how am I supposed to recycle said can? Question.
Maybe because you ordered a Grubhub earlier and you brought in the can.
Oh yeah. Oh, what if we could? Can you Grubhub alcohol delivery? Oh, the possibilities could be endless. All right, we got to keep moving. We will give everyone a solid update once the trial and error period of the first few weeks resumes. But Pabs advanced to the closed door knockout rounds. IMCF Pabs are MLS star representing Inter Miami. Closed out the knockout round with a thrilling win versus Nashville's Jackson Redona in the EMLS knockout round. Subsequently, Pabs fell against the number 1 seeded player in the competition, Toronto's Goal Machine, in the quarterfinals to wrap up his EMLS Cup participation. Let's move forward to fan questions. Fans, whatever. Let's move forward to it. What you got for me?
OnlyFans.
OnlyFans.
With OnlyFans.
OnlyFans.
Right.
We'll roll with it. What you got for us today, bud?
So, Jay and Alex. This is from our least favorite Scouser, Nuka Cola vendor. If you could sign anyone in the MLS without money being an option, and the one caveat is it cannot be Lewis Morgan, who would you sign?
Lucas Elorion. Easy.
That's a tough question. I mean, like, which way do you go? Do you go like where we need the most help, or?
I think like my personal choice in that, I think Zellerion's one of the best, if not the best, midfielders, in the game, attacking minded midfielders. So I'm going to go ahead and if I can replace Gonzalo with Zellerion, I will do that deal right now.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, honestly, with this whole thing breaking down the way that it is, there's a lot of players that left. Is it so freaking terrible for me to say Walker Zimmerman just to have a stable person on your back line that you can just trust day in and day out who's probably going to be the leader of your team?
No, that's very valid, actually. That's very valid. Dan, who would you take?
You guys actually picked 2 of the 3. I was actually going to say Jay, yours, and then Alex's. And then there's a new guy. His name was Mewis Lorgan that plays for New York Red Bull. I was going to try and sign him up.
I can't believe you just said that because my head was literally just thinking that 5 seconds before. Like I should have just said Mewis Lorgan. Wow.
Yeah, I already had Johnny create a graphic for Mewis Lorgan whenever we decide to sign him. So, next question though, from March of David, is there any academy player you would call up right now that already has not been with the first team? Jay,
that has not been with the first team? Like even in preseason?
I would say let's take preseason out of it. So you can, if they've been with the preseason or team during the preseason, that's fine, but has not actually played with the first team.
I would probably go with Sean Hundal.
What do you think there, Alex?
No, I mean, that was definitely going to be my thought too. But I mean, you're the one who's covered honestly the most about it. Probably anyone in the community. So what do you think, man?
I got to go Ethan Harden. We need that defensive help.
All right.
That's a good one too.
Got a killer pass accuracy. I want to say it was in the mid to high 90s from the back line to the midfield last year. He's got great vision and he looks to push the ball forward. So that would be my player to call up.
Maybe we can call up the head coach.
Damn. All right.
Yeah.
And last but certainly not least, our boy IMCF Traveler. Where does Breck stand after this week? Our true left backs are regaining fitness, and he seems destined to be relegated to truly only a left wing super sub. What do you guys think?
In my opinion, he's nothing more than a super sub at this point of his career. We joke about all the time is the best $50,000 or $5, however we want to look at it, signing that the club probably has had in history. And boy, does that bring a smile to my face when Breck Shea checks into the game. Who was it? Was it like, who was saying it at the game the first time? 10 more Brecks. 10 more Brecks. And that's absolutely right, but we can only have him for so long out on the pitch. But yes, I agree. I think Breck Shea is a super sub to the superist.
Yeah, as much as I would love for the Viking King to, regain his youthful play, yeah, he is. I think he's going to be best utilized as a super sub / snake catcher in that the unforeseen circumstances we come across a snake. It does hurt. I'm sitting here and I'm having these thoughts in my mind that I don't really want to put out into the universe, but it kind of like age just kind of smacks you. One season you got it, and then the next season you don't necessarily got it anymore. I don't know if we're there yet, but I was pretty alarmed by Breck's mistakes he was making, because he is typically a pretty consistent player for us. So, maybe we got to pull back a little bit. We are getting, our players back. So, I'm going to go ahead and, get him back to a super sub spot. I think he can come on and change the game for 20, 30 minutes, and maybe we just go back to that. Maybe we were asking too much to try and get a full 90 minutes out of him, because we only got a full 45 minutes out of him before he was carted and sent off the field.
I would have to say, I don't even think he's a super sub anymore. He's just a regular sub. He's going to be the player we bring on when we don't have any other options at this point. That's how I'm viewing it. I don't think that we are going to see the best of Breck. I think his regression has been way too quick. And honestly, with the small sample size we have, I think we need to push more towards getting Gonzalo to be that super sub role.
Well, they could both be super subs, honestly, but we got to find out someone.
But what I'm saying is Breck, his regression has been so quick. I don't think he could be super sub. I think he could come out and make an impact, but I don't think he's going to make the same impact like he normally did.
Maybe it's just, maybe that prime is starting to fade away, and maybe it's more in the rear view mirror than in front of him now. But what you got over there, buddy? I see you're storming up over there.
No, nothing good. Nothing good. Okay. Fair enough.
Well, we still promise to come through, even though, it sometimes can be a little painful. But hey, if there's ever a game to turn everything around, we've got it against Cincinnati. And if in the same breath, if there's ever a game to really completely shatter you, it's Cincinnati CF. So, thank you, everyone, for tuning into the Inter Miami podcast. If you don't, check us out on social media, on Twitter at Inter MIA Podcast, on Instagram at Inter Miami Podcast. Join the Discord if you don't already. Jerseys are in. I will be contacting everyone this week to coordinate maybe like a watch party to pick it up, or we can just do it at the stadium. Than, I'll go ahead and ship yours up to you, buddy, because I don't want to make you wait to come down for the game you're coming. Anyway, keep your heads up. It can only get better. It can only get better.
Better. Say it with me. Better.
Better. Anyway.
Maybe better.
As we leave every single episode, Vamos Miami.
Vamos Miami.
Vamos Miami.